You're scrolling through social media, seeing friends post about their weekend trips to Europe or their brand new Tesla, and you're lying awake, wondering where exactly you fit in the financial hierarchy of America. Maybe you're staring at your bank account, trying to figure out if you're doing better or worse than everyone else your age. Or you've heard people throw around terms like middle class and wealthy, but have absolutely no idea what those actually mean in real dollar amounts. Here's what will shock you about American wealth distribution. The median household net worth is around $193,000, but the average is over $1 million. That mathematical impossibility reveals just how extreme wealth concentration has become. The top 1% of households control nearly 1/3 of all wealth in America, completely distorting what most people think normal financial success looks like. Meanwhile, many people who appear wealthy on social media are actually financially stressed because they're confusing looking rich with being rich. Today, I'm revealing the actual net worth numbers that define each economic class in America, plus the geographic reality that makes a $2 million net worth feel like royalty in some areas, but merely comfortable in others. If you want to understand where you really stand financially, comment net worth check below. Let's start with the lower class reality that affects more Americans than most people realize. Class number 1. Lower class reality. If your net worth falls between $0 and $16,900, you're categorized as lower class according to Federal Reserve data, with a median net worth of around $6,000 for this group. Before this number creates unnecessary anxiety, understand that net worth includes people of all ages and circumstances. A 22-year-old recent college graduate with student loans, someone recovering from divorce or medical bankruptcy, or anyone facing temporary financial setbacks due to life circumstances. What defines the lower class isn't just the numbers. It's the daily financial constraints that create a cycle where everything becomes more expensive when you have limited resources. This represents one of the most frustrating aspects of financial hardship. The poverty penalty that makes basic living costs higher for people who can least afford them. Without sufficient capital for security deposits, you might face higher utility connection fees or be required to use prepaid services that cost more per unit. Unable to buy in bulk or take advantage of sales, your grocery costs per item increase significantly. Lacking access to traditional banking, you might rely on check cashing services or payday loans with exorbitant fees that consume substantial portions of already limited income. Transportation becomes particularly expensive without capital for reliable vehicle purchases. Older, less reliable cars require frequent repairs that strain budgets, while public transportation costs add up over time. The inability to plan purchases around sales or bulk discounts means paying retail prices for everything from food to household supplies. Credit access often involves high-interest cards or predatory lending that can trap people in debt cycles. When emergencies arise, and they always do, the lack of savings forces reliance on expensive short-term borrowing that makes future financial stability even more difficult to achieve. But here's the crucial context that financial data doesn't capture. This class often represents temporary circumstances rather than permanent economic status. Young people starting careers, individuals transitioning between jobs, students, or those recovering from major life events frequently pass through this category on their way to improved financial circumstances. The key to mobility involves focusing on income stability and expense management rather than complex investment strategies. Emergency fund building, even $25 to $50 monthly, creates the cushion needed to avoid debt traps when unexpected costs arise. Avoiding high-interest debt becomes priority 1, as these obligations can consume income for years and prevent wealth accumulation. Skill development through free or low-cost education resources can increase earning potential over time. Community colleges, online certification programs, and employer training opportunities provide pathways to higher-paying positions without requiring significant upfront investment. Banking relationships matter enormously for this group. Credit unions often provide more favorable terms than traditional banks, while building a positive banking history enables access to better financial products over time. Even small, regular deposits help establish the relationship needed for future credit access at reasonable rates. Most importantly, understanding that financial class represents current circumstances, not permanent identity, enables the mindset shift necessary for improvement. People move between financial classes regularly based on career development, life circumstances, and strategic financial decisions over time. The path upward requires patience and consistent small actions rather than dramatic changes. Building emergency funds, avoiding debt traps, developing skills, and maintaining banking relationships create the foundation for eventual movement into higher financial classes. This isn't about judgment or comparison with others. It's about understanding your current position and the specific strategies that enable upward mobility from this starting point. Class number 2, lower middle class challenges. The lower middle class encompasses a net worth between $16,900 and $58,550, with a median of around $61,260. This group faces a particularly frustrating financial position, earning too much to qualify for most government assistance programs, but not enough to feel genuinely secure about their financial future. This creates a unique set of challenges that distinguishes them from both the lower class and the true middle class. This category typically includes skilled workers, technicians, service industry employees, retail managers, administrative professionals, and others with steady employment but limited opportunities for dramatic income growth. Many have completed some post-secondary education or vocational training and work in essential roles that society depends on, but that don't command high salaries. The defining characteristic of this group is financial vulnerability disguised as stability. They often own modest homes, have basic emergency funds, and maintain employer-sponsored retirement accounts. But these achievements remain fragile. A job loss, major medical expense, or significant car repair can quickly destabilize their financial position in ways that wouldn't affect higher net worth groups. Healthcare costs represent a particularly acute challenge for this demographic. While they typically have employer-provided insurance, the deductibles, copays, and out-of-pocket maximums constrain budgets significantly. A serious illness or injury might not bankrupt them immediately, but it can easily consume years of savings and force difficult choices between medical care and other necessities. Housing decisions become especially complex for this group. They often qualify for mortgages but may struggle to afford homes in desirable school districts or safe neighborhoods. The choice between stretching budgets for better housing or accepting less desirable locations affects not just current comfort, but long-term wealth-building potential and family opportunities. Career advancement opportunities exist, but often require investments in education or training that strain current budgets. Professional development, certifications, or additional degrees that could increase earning potential compete with immediate family needs and financial obligations, creating difficult trade-offs between present security and future improvement. The lower middle class also faces unique social pressures. They earn enough that family and friends might assume they're financially comfortable, leading to expectations about gift-giving, social activities, or helping others financially that can stress already tight budgets. The appearance of stability can mask genuine financial concerns. Retirement planning becomes critically important for this group because Social Security will replace a larger percentage of their income than it will for higher earners, but they still need additional savings to maintain their standard of living. However, competing priorities often limit their ability to save aggressively for retirement while meeting current obligations. Strategic financial planning can enable significant progress for this group. Maximizing employer benefit programs, including health savings accounts, retirement plan matching, and professional development opportunities provides leverage that individual action alone cannot achieve. These employer-provided benefits often represent the most efficient path to improved financial security. Skill development remains crucial, but it must be strategic and cost-effective. Online certifications, community college programs, and employer-sponsored training provide pathways to higher-paying positions without requiring prohibitive upfront investments or extended time away from income-generating work. Budget optimization becomes essential, not through extreme frugality, but through conscious spending on priorities that support long-term goals. This might mean choosing reliable used vehicles over new ones, living in smaller homes in good school districts rather than larger homes in struggling areas, or investing in quality items that last rather than repeatedly replacing cheaper alternatives. Building automatic savings systems, even modest amounts, creates momentum toward higher financial classes while protecting against emergencies that could force backward movement. Class number 3. True middle class foundation. The true middle class, with net worth ranging from $58,550 to $500,000 and a median around $145,200, represents what most Americans consider the standard for financial success and the achievement of traditional American dream markers. This group has managed to establish genuine financial stability while maintaining the ability to plan for future goals beyond just meeting immediate needs. Middle-class households typically own their primary residences, though they may still carry mortgages that represent manageable portions of their income rather than financial strain. They've established retirement accounts through employer-sponsored programs and often supplement these with additional investment accounts. Emergency funds covering 3 to 6 months of expenses provide cushions against unexpected financial disruptions without requiring debt or family assistance. This class can afford modest vacations, occasional dining out, and discretionary purchases without requiring careful budget calculations for every decision. Children's activities, educational expenses, and family entertainment fit within monthly budgets, though major purchases still require planning and consideration. Healthcare costs, while noticeable, don't typically force difficult choices between medical care and other necessities. What distinguishes the middle class from lower economic groups is their ability to think beyond immediate survival toward long-term financial planning. They can simultaneously meet current lifestyle needs while building wealth for future goals, like children's education, home improvements, or retirement security. This dual capability, present comfort and future planning, represents genuine financial achievement. However, the middle class faces distinct vulnerabilities that can threaten their financial security. Extended unemployment, serious medical issues, or major home repairs can strain resources in ways that force difficult financial decisions. While they're not living paycheck to paycheck, they're also not wealthy enough to absorb major financial shocks without feeling a significant impact. Geographic location dramatically affects middle-class experiences. A $200,000 net worth provides different lifestyle options in rural Nebraska compared to suburban Boston. Housing costs, local taxes, and regional income levels create substantially different financial realities even within the same wealth class. Career development remains important for middle-class advancement, but the focus shifts from basic skill acquisition to strategic professional growth. Advanced certifications, leadership development, or specialized training can enable movement toward upper middle-class status, but these investments must be balanced against current family obligations and financial commitments. The middle class faces psychological challenges around financial identity. Success brings expectations from family and community about lifestyle choices, charitable giving, and financial assistance to others. Social pressure to maintain appearances can lead to spending decisions that slow wealth accumulation or create financial stress. Lifestyle inflation represents the primary threat to middle-class financial progress. As incomes increase through career advancement, the temptation to upgrade housing, vehicles, and lifestyle choices can consume additional earnings without building corresponding wealth. Many middle-class families find themselves earning significantly more than they did 5 or 10 years ago, while feeling no wealthier due to proportional spending increases. Investment strategy becomes crucial for this group because they have sufficient discretionary income to build wealth, but must do so efficiently to reach upper middle-class status. Understanding the difference between building assets and accumulating possessions determines whether families advance economically or remain stable but static. Automatic saving systems work particularly well for middle-class households because they can absorb systematic wealth building without affecting daily lifestyle choices. Setting up investment contributions to increase automatically with salary raises prevents lifestyle inflation while accelerating wealth accumulation. The middle class represents a sustainable wealth-building opportunity when combined with financial discipline and strategic planning. Their stability provides the foundation for more aggressive wealth-building strategies that could be risky for lower-income groups, but represent appropriate progression for families with established financial security. Number 4. Upper middle class trap. The upper middle class, spanning net worth from $500,000 to $2.65 million, represents a fascinating paradox in American wealth distribution. This group includes many of what financial professionals call Henrys, high earners, not rich yet, typically households earning $150,000 to $400,000 annually, who should theoretically be building substantial wealth, but often don't feel wealthy at all due to lifestyle inflation and geographic cost pressures. This demographic typically includes doctors, lawyers, engineers, successful business managers, technology professionals, and other highly educated workers who leverage their skills into high-paying careers. They live in desirable neighborhoods, send children to good schools, max out retirement accounts without financial stress, and can afford luxury purchases that would strain lower-income groups. Yet many report feeling financially pressed and unable to build wealth as quickly as their incomes would suggest. The primary trap facing this group is lifestyle inflation that grows proportionally with income increases. The modest apartment becomes a substantial house with corresponding property taxes and maintenance costs. The reliable used car becomes a luxury SUV with higher insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. Occasional dining out becomes regular fine dining experiences. Private school tuition, expensive vacations, and premium everything become the new normal. Before they realize what happened, households earning $200,000 annually find themselves with monthly expenses approaching $180,000 annually, leaving surprisingly little for wealth building despite substantial gross income. They're earning 3 times what they made a decade ago, but somehow feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck at a higher level. Geographic location dramatically amplifies this effect. A $300,000 household income provides an upper middle lifestyle in most American cities, but barely covers basic professional class living expenses in San Francisco, New York, or Washington, D.C. Housing costs alone can consume 40 to 60% of gross income in expensive metropolitan areas, forcing trade-offs that wouldn't exist in lower-cost regions. The upper middle class faces unique financial challenges that lower-income groups don't encounter. They pay higher marginal tax rates on additional income, often 32 to 37% federal plus state taxes that can push total marginal rates above 45%. They qualify for virtually no government assistance programs, even during economic hardships, and must fund their own children's education and retirement entirely, since Social Security will replace only small percentages of their pre-retirement income. Many in this group become heavily invested in real estate, both primary residences and investment properties, viewing property appreciation and rental income as wealth-building strategies. However, real estate concentration can create geographic and market risks that diversified investment portfolios would avoid. The psychological challenge involves social comparison and lifestyle expectations. Surrounding themselves with other high earners creates pressure to maintain expensive lifestyles that feel normal within their social circles, but prevent wealth accumulation. Children attend private schools where families vacation in Europe annually, making modest lifestyle choices feel like deprivation rather than responsible financial planning. Professional identity often becomes tied to lifestyle markers that require ongoing expense. The successful lawyer feels pressure to drive appropriate cars, live in prestigious neighborhoods, and maintain appearances that support business development but consume substantial income that could otherwise build wealth. Strategic wealth building for this group requires conscious resistance to lifestyle inflation and geographic cost pressures. Understanding opportunity cost becomes crucial. Every dollar spent on lifestyle upgrades represents dollars that could compound into substantial wealth over decades. Automated investment systems work particularly well because they remove money before lifestyle spending can consume it. Many successful upper-middle-class wealth builders live deliberately below their means, choosing to optimize for net worth growth rather than lifestyle optimization. Understanding that true wealth provides better long-term security than expensive appearances. The mindset shift involves recognizing that income doesn't equal wealth without intentional spending discipline and strategic financial planning over extended periods. Class number 5, True Wealth Territory. True Wealth Territory begins around $2.65 million net worth. But even within this class, dramatic variations exist that most people don't understand. The lower tier of wealthy, roughly 2.65 to 5.8 million, represents genuine financial success by any reasonable standard. But these individuals often still work, think about money regularly, and make decisions based on budgets, albeit much larger budgets than most Americans manage. At this level, wealth provides options rather than unlimited spending power. These households might own substantial homes in expensive neighborhoods, drive luxury vehicles, travel extensively, and afford private education for children, but they're typically still accumulating wealth rather than living entirely off investment returns. Many remain employed because they enjoy their work or because their lifestyle requires ongoing income generation. The real separation in American wealth happens at the top 1% threshold, requiring approximately $5.8 to $12 million in net worth, depending on the measurement methodology. Different financial institutions provide varying estimates because measuring extreme wealth proves incredibly difficult when individual portfolios can fluctuate by millions based on market conditions, making precise thresholds challenging to establish. Reaching the top 1% means achieving financial success that's almost incomprehensible to most Americans. Investment returns alone often exceed what middle-class families earn annually from employment. These individuals have access to investment opportunities unavailable to regular wealthy people. Private equity, venture capital, hedge funds, and other exclusive vehicles requiring minimum investments in the millions. The top 0.1% requires approximately $62 million in net worth, representing people who own successful businesses, inherited substantial family wealth, or made extremely successful high-risk investments. This level of wealth provides access to entirely different economic systems where money works fundamentally differently than it does for everyone else. What's psychologically fascinating about American wealth distribution is how quickly numbers escalate as you move up the ladder. The difference between the middle class and the upper middle class involves hundreds of thousands. But the difference between the upper class and the top 1% involves millions, while the gap between the top 1% and the top 0.1% involves tens of millions. This creates situations where even wealthy people feel financially insecure when comparing themselves to those above them. Someone with $5 million net worth might feel rich until spending time around people with $50 million, demonstrating how social comparison affects financial satisfaction regardless of absolute wealth levels. Geographic location continues to affect these wealth levels. though less dramatically than for lower classes. A $5 million net worth provides a substantial lifestyle anywhere in America, but the specific manifestations vary considerably. This amount might buy a modest apartment in Manhattan's elite neighborhoods or a palatial estate in smaller cities. The psychology of extreme wealth often involves diminishing marginal utility. Additional millions provide decreasing incremental improvements in life satisfaction. Research suggests that beyond meeting security and comfort needs, additional wealth often gets directed toward philanthropy, legacy building, or pursuing non-financial goals, rather than personal consumption. Many people at this level report that wealth's primary benefit isn't luxury purchases, but rather freedom from financial anxiety and the ability to make decisions based on preferences rather than financial constraints. They can pursue interests, support causes, and help family members without worrying about financial consequences. However, extreme wealth also creates unique challenges, including social isolation, difficulty trusting others' motivations, concerns about children's character development, and responsibility for managing substantial assets that can become consuming rather than liberating. The mindset shift at this level involves understanding that wealth primarily provides options, security, and freedom, rather than necessarily improving daily happiness or life satisfaction beyond what middle-class financial security already provides. These wealth class categories represent current financial snapshots, not permanent life sentences. Americans move between these classes regularly based on career development, financial decisions, and life circumstances that are often more within their control than they realize. Understanding these numbers matters not for social comparison, but for realistic goal setting and strategic financial planning. Geographic location dramatically changes what these net worth levels mean for actual lifestyle. A $500,000 net worth provides different opportunities in rural Tennessee versus San Francisco, while a $2 million net worth might fund luxury living in some areas, but only modest comfort in expensive metropolitan markets. The most important distinction separating wealth builders from everyone else is understanding the difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. Many people who appear successful on social media are actually financially stressed because they are prioritizing lifestyle over net worth building, while genuinely wealthy individuals often live surprisingly modestly and focus on accumulating assets rather than possessions. Which wealth class surprised you most? And what's your primary financial focus right now? Building emergency funds, avoiding lifestyle inflation, or optimizing investment strategies? Comment below and let me know what specific wealth building challenges you're facing. If this breakdown helped clarify where you stand financially and what steps might help you advance, share it with someone who could benefit from understanding these realities rather than guessing about their financial position. Remember that wealth class mobility happens through consistent financial behaviors that anyone can learn and implement over time. Your current net worth reflects past decisions and circumstances, but your future wealth class depends on the financial habits you develop starting today.